Hi everyone. Welcome back to the Divine Wrestling Mat. Today is the start of what I am calling the Hospital Wrestling Series. Over the next several weeks, these videos are going to reflect the small collection of writings that I did while in the hospital from mid-September to October of 2024. So just for a bit of context, I was on bed rest with my second pregnancy, attempting to prevent the progression into preterm labor, which is something that I experienced with my firstborn daughter and is inevitably something that I did experience with my second-born daughter as well. If you happen to be in similar shoes today, if you're in the hospital fighting for the life of your baby, or you're just in the hospital on an extended stay, I understand your pain. I understand the restlessness and the anxiety and the fears and the guilt and all the mixed emotions that come with it. Prayerfully, I just hope these videos will be a bright spot during your stay. I hope they will be a little source of encouragement as you sit in that hospital bed, and I just prayerfully, ultimately hope that they point you back to spending time with our true comfort, our Heavenly Father. And if you're not in similar shoes, you might know somebody who is in the hospital on an extended stay. Or you might, in one day in the future, know somebody who's in the hospital on an extended stay. And so, if you want to keep some thoughts in the back of your head, if you want to be able to be there and be present for those people, these videos might give you some tools that will help you to minister to people who are in the hospital. No matter where you are today, let's step up to the mat and seek God's face. At some point or another, if you have not gone through one or multiple already, you will experience a season where you find it hard to love your body. It's no mystery that women in particular struggle with body image issues, though I know several men do as well. And when it comes to pregnancy and postpartum, women might feel themselves simultaneously holding these feelings of being in awe of what their body is capable of doing and has done, and grieving over how their body now looks and feels because it just doesn't feel the same. In the past few years, I have joined these group of women as I have welcomed my two daughters into the world, but I must admit that I've taken it one step further. Beyond finding it hard to love my body, I've also found myself questioning the inherent goodness that God has placed into the creation of my body. If you have walked through any manner of infertility, miscarriage, preterm labor, or other heart-wrenching pregnancy diagnoses, you might understand what I'm talking about. As I previously mentioned, while I was writing the draft for this devotional, I was sitting on bed rest in the hospital trying to prevent my second pregnancy from going into preterm labor. With a history of delivering my eldest daughter at 30 weeks and sitting on bed rest at 28 weeks, already 5 centimeters dilated with my second, I found it hard to find the goodness of God's creation in my body. I sat there and I couldn't help thinking to myself, how does my body, a mother's body, fail to carry her babies to full term not once but twice? How does my body, a female body designed and intended to carry life, fail to carry that life completely without the aid of medical technology? How is it that my body, a mother's body, cannot protect and nurture her babies for the full 3 trimesters that it was intended to carry them? In short, I was thinking to myself, where is the goodness in my body when it comes to my pregnancies? And yet, in tension with these thoughts, King David reminds us in Psalm 139 that all human bodies are fearfully and wonderfully made. A truth. For you formed my inward parts, you knitted me together in my mother's womb. I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works, my soul knows it very well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was being made in secret, intricately woven in the depths of the earth. Your eyes saw my unformed substance. In your book were written every one of them, the days that were formed for me, when as yet there were none of them. This is a truth we must realize as we read David's words are not rooted in who we are as people, but in who God is as the divine creator. We are not fearsome and wondrous just because we are human. We are fearsome and wondrous because the fearsome and wondrous God of the universe created and molded us by hand first. As we are fearful, he is all the more to be feared. As we are wondrous in work, he is all the more to be wondered over. And in the light of this fearfulness and wonderfulness, my musings led me to be reminded of this little girl, to be reminded that she was still being formed in all of her intricate ways. A little girl whose body would be equally fearfully and wonderfully made, even more so than it was in that moment. A promise, though perhaps not in the way that I wanted to receive it. How wonderful are God's works. In the wrestling, we can start to know them well. How wonderful it is, painstaking as it might be at times, that my broken, insufficient body has even the smallest capacity to carry and nurture life. How wonderful that a little girl could grow in the imperfect comfort of my womb, even if it wasn't for the appropriate amount of time. And hopefully, she already caught a glimpse of the true comfort of her Creator. And while I could go on and on about the blessings that come with being able to carry a child, I still wrestled. Like Jacob in Genesis 32, I sat in that hospital bed and I pleaded for a blessing. I prayed for the hope of a full term baby. I asked for more time to sit in my pregnancy. I wept more times than I can count over the request of being able to take my baby girl home with me straight after birth. I asked and I prayed and I pleaded, and I very quickly was reminded that God did not give Jacob all that he asked for. Yes, God blessed Jacob in the wake of the wrestling and gave him the name Israel because he had striven with God and with man and had prevailed. But when Jacob asked for God's name, God asked him, "Why do you ask for my name?" And then he was gone. Yes, God blessed Jacob in the wake of the wrestling and gave him the name Israel because he had striven with God and with man and had prevailed. The truth. But when Jacob asked for God's name, God asked him, "Why do you ask for my name?" And then he was gone. So no, God did not grant Jacob's request for his name with an answer. However, what he did leave him with was a taste of his presence. And what if that was the better gift? And you see, I think maybe Jacob realized it too, because in the tenderness that was left in the wake of wrestling's intimacy, he declares that he saw God face to face and was spared. A promise. A promise that Jacob would go on to live in the presence of the Lord all the days of his life, and that even if he didn't receive all the blessings that God had bestowed upon him, his future descendants would. At the end of my stay, I was inevitably blessed with 6 more weeks of pregnancy. But in the wake of that also followed another preterm labor, another preterm delivery, another baby in the NICU for 3 weeks. But in those 6 weeks, I could sit with her presence in mine and mine within God's and be reminded that in my days of wrestlings, I could still catch a glimpse of what is holy. Whether we like it or not, whether we believe it or not, the process is holy. If we choose to get in close to the Creator, to get in the nitty-gritty, to tussle with Him, we might actually find that we will grow in intimacy with Him and find that we see Him face to face. Though there may be hardship ahead of you, I hope you leave this space with the encouragement that God has tenderly formed you. The truth. Just because you are facing pregnancy complications or other health complications does not mean that God has not perfectly designed and created you with an intention and a purpose. And because He created you with an intention and a purpose, be reminded of the fact that He was with you in the darkness of the womb, just as He is with you now in the darkness of your season. A promise. I don't know exactly what dark season you're facing. I don't know where you're questioning God, or I don't know where your doubts are. I don't know where you are struggling to believe. But I do know that He is inviting you to wrestle with Him. No question is too big, no cry is too distressful, no complaint is too loud. The Psalms tell us that the Lord is near to the brokenhearted. He's not afraid of a messy match. How wonderful it is that our relationship with God can be marked by a wrestling that is tender and raw, that is real and authentic. After all, it is in the intimacy of wrestling that we are pulled into God's face and we can see Him up close. And how wonderful it is, though as painstaking as it may be, to be made in the image of a God who does not settle for giving us answers, but who gives us the better promise of His presence. Go in peace, my friends.